Welcome back to Market on Close. I'm Sam Bartis, live from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Shares of Bitdeer are rallying today and touched a new all-time high after Cantor Fitzgerald raised its price target to $50 from $30 and kept an overweight rating on the shares. The company is now up 40% on the week and has gained over 250% since its April low. So it is now time for overlooked stocks. That's the subject. And I'm joined by George Tsilis, as always, senior markets correspondent, to tell us about the price action and the reaction we're seeing to that analyst call in Bitdeer, George.
Yeah, there are some additional analysts. I mean, you talk about Cantor, but Roth Capital also maintains a buy with a $40 target. And so there's something going on with obviously with Bitdeer Technologies today, as well as some of the other players that are moving from just traditional blockchain mining or crypto mining to high performance computing. And in other words, there's a vertical integration narrative that we talked about when we covered Applied Digital not too long ago, as well as a lot of movement in other competitors like Riot and CleanSpark. But Bitdeer is another one of these pure players, or was a pure player in the crypto mining space. They did talk about how, if you look at their September crypto mining numbers in terms of total coins mined, it increased sequentially from August about 20%. They're also planning as a business to retire some of their antiquated GPUs to focus on procuring some new ones, as well as now enhancing the opportunity to increase the economic yield on their technologies in Ohio with their major crypto mining center into high performance computing and artificial intelligence. So essentially, it's another story of integration of crypto mining facilities into high performance computing, into data centers and high performance computing, which essentially Bitdeer is doing, much like Applied Digital has been doing in the past year or so. And if you look at some of the analysts mentioned just a moment ago, they've got some pretty aggressive price targets, in some cases with Cantor basically doubling the current price. Because one of the things I noticed in terms of the movement in the last year or so across the landscape, and just some competitors in this space include Riot and CleanSpark and Applied Digital, the businesses like Applied Digital that are getting closer to profitability in the next coming fiscal year are moving farther and faster. And Bitdeer is also in that camp. They're expecting this year to still lose from an adjusted money standpoint, 54 cents. But next year, they're expected to reverse that to 96 cents in adjusted profit on $1.2 billion in sales from about 575 million this year. So they're expecting to double their revenue next year, and of course reverse their losses from this year to profits next year by over 200%.
Yeah, it's interesting, I find, with these businesses, obviously, because they're Bitcoin miners, but they're also sort of part of the whole AI trade, as you say, you know, with respect to the AI data centers as well. So no doubt they've got sort of double tailwind there, particularly if we continue to see things like Bitcoin prices rise. But you mentioned a couple of other analysts there. You know, I'm just wondering if there's so many sort of names out there that you sort of rattled off. I know Iron is another one in this space too. I've seen some headlines around that company too today. I mean, you know, where they see things going from here, you know, as far as the next leg for these sorts of names.
Well, I mean, all these names have moved quite substantively in the past year or so. The narrative right now is obviously high performance computing and artificial intelligence. Crypto is, again, in the background of all of this as well in terms of parallel technology. So there's sort of a double variable catalyst in these names right now. Markets are hitting new highs, risk on in terms of what's going on in data center development. And this is across the board from, you know, your lead architect semiconductor plays like Taiwan Semi, NVIDIA. And then you've got your other plays like Oracle, OpenAI deals that are happening. And again, you know, other third-party players like CoreWeave, and that also presents opportunities for companies like Bitdeer Technologies in improving the efficiency and computing yield of existing technologies and increasing the computational infrastructure is what we're seeing. And this is a huge wave. We're part and parcel of this, and a lot of people are talking about a bubble right now. I'm not going to say whether we're not or in one or not, because it's maybe too soon to tell. And of course, the benefit of hindsight information is really going to be relevant in the long run. But nonetheless, the trends are still very positive, and you have to go with what information you have. Right now, based on consensus estimates, as I mentioned, the company is expecting to still lose 54 cents this year, but 96 cents of profits next year with doubling of sales. So based on those estimates, the positive earnings yield in the stock will manifest into positive trends. And that's what we're seeing in price action. But again, it's too soon to tell if these trends will stay a bit higher for longer, or they may end up, falling to the wayside eventually. But in the meantime, you just don't want to get in front of a bull trend, because these trends are very powerful and very explosive. And that's what we're seeing across the board in many stocks, including stocks like AMD and, of course, Oracle as of late as well.
Yeah, we certainly are. And as you say, quite a number of tailwinds behind some of these names as well. Let's see if it continues. Thank you so much for that, George, as always.